How's it going, everyone? This is the
Hello,
first episode
hello.
of the Cosplayer Roundtable. We've got a stellar group of cosplayers in here. Oh, Farron just left. She's probably jumping back in. We'll do some introductions first. So we'll go around, I guess. I don't know how it is on your screen, but CJ's on my top left.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, so we'll go around.
Okay. Well, hi. My name is CJ Prop Studio. I am a armor builder cosplayer. I do 3D printing. I've been doing cosplay since '09 and been loathed it ever since.
Nice. Well, Vixie's muted for some reason.
Oh, because I have two little corgis that like to interrupt. So
okay.
I'm Vixie Pixie Cosplay. I've been cosplaying for this is going to be my 10th anniversary year. So yay!
Oh, nice.
Usually I do sewing. I'm going to adventure into armor this year, and I did this wig all by myself. So yay!
Yeah.
Nice.
We can skip me and Chris.
Uh-oh. Wait, who's
So where we at? We're on Lorenzo now?
Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Hi, my name is Lorenzo Dozier, aka Mr. Team Awesome 418, and I've been cosplaying for about 2 years now, 2 years and change. And yeah, I'm actually live at work doing this, so this is going to be very interesting how this goes.
Nice.
Oh shit! I didn't even see the chat. Okay. Are you dealing with the chat, Chris?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Okay, we'll go over to Daytay. Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, I am Daytay Cosplay. I'm based out of San Diego. I've been cosplaying for since 2015, which is almost like a decade. I think I'm almost there. I also am 10 cosplays, around 10 or 12 cosplays away from my 100th cosplay, which is kind of wild. Yeah. I do cosplay, I do body painting, I'm still working on the wig thing, so that's a big thumbs up with the wigs. Wigs are so difficult. They're so difficult. Armor stuff, kind of cosplay, a little bit of everything, anime, superheroes, and sometimes game characters. Yeah.
I'll go ahead and go next. My name is Onyxia. I also go by Banshee Queen Cosplay. Nice to meet everyone. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I've been cosplaying for just about 3 years, so not all that long, but when I got into it, I went balls to the wall. I would say my strengths are foam smithing, and I'm getting into 3D printing as well. And I mostly cosplay from my favorite video game, World of Warcraft.
Nice.
I'm Namor Cosplay. I've been, I guess, intentionally been cosplaying since 2018, but I didn't really start until the pandemic, so 2020, when I really got into it. And I cosplay Namor, obviously, but I've kind of been growing past him this past year. I've been doing Ronan the Accuser, or Adam Warlock, or MCU stuff usually, or Marvel, for the most part. Really into foam, Orgla, sewing. I build all my own stuff. Really got into makeup this year. That's been a new one. And yeah.
Nice.
Right, I'll go next. Hi everyone, I'm the Happy Muse. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I have been modeling and acting for about 4 or 5 years, and then just recently started cosplaying about 2, 3 years ago. Also a nurse practitioner full time, and I'd say my favorite character to cosplay at the moment is Katana.
Nice. Farron.
Yes. Hi. I'm originally from Florida. I've been cosplaying from, I guess technically I've been cosplaying since 2000. But I moved to Tennessee, and my favorite things to cosplay are actually my original characters. But I do love Marvel characters, and I like making my own versions of characters as well.
Nice. What was everyone's first cosplay? Okay.
Oof.
I know mine.
Yep.
I guess I'll start with it. Back in 2013 is when I first started actually building. I did get into the community in '09, but I started building in 2013. But my very first thing I ever built was a silver Daft Punk helmet out of paper mache and Pepakura papercraft. That was my first introduction to like cosplay building, and at the time, was I proud of it? Yes, but looking back to what I do now is, but full armor wise, in 2017, I did Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
Amazing. I did Anna from the first Frozen movie, the coronation outfit. My sister was actually the sewer in the family, and she's like, "Oh, hey, I made this gorgeous green dress, and I happen to have some extra green fabric. I think we should make this outfit." I'm like, "Yes, absolutely." And so we made her an Elsa outfit and myself an Anna outfit, and we went outside and took some pictures. And then soon after that, my friend was like, "Hey, so there's this thing. It's called Comic Con." I'm like, "Tell me more. Tell me more." And was hooked from there. So Anna.
Nice. Chris, I don't think I know what your first cosplay was.
My first cosplay. So I started cosplaying. Well, I started in the con scene as a photographer. So I used to do like casual cosplays that were comfortable while I did photography. So my first cosplay was Back to the Future 2 Marty McFly.
Nice. I don't know. I think my first cosplay was Deathstroke. Just buying stuff off of Amazon and just swinging it from there. But as for actually building something, I think the first commission I did was Azrael from Batman. Lorenzo?
Yeah, so one thing that I left out during the intro is that I'm from New York. So my first cosplay is Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Started back in 2021, but I technically wore my first Miles Morales mask in 2019.
Nice.
My first cosplay. Oh, it hurts. It hurts to think about it. My first cosplay, actually, I made it from scratch, but it was really, really, really. It was a lot of glue. It's a lot of hot glue. It's a lot of hot glue. It was actually, well, I was the overachiever at that time, so I actually made like 3 cosplays for Fanime 2015, and one of them was like Harley Quinn, was a Gingerbread Harley Quinn. One of them was a character from Magic the Gathering, called Finax, God of Deception. And I think the last one was so bad that I've taken it out of my memory. I remember going up on like the train from San Diego to San Jose. It's 12 hours, and I lost the hammer part to the Harley, so I just had a staff. It was all bad. It just pieces were missing, and yeah, I actually have it. That little mask right there is like the little the part of the mask from the thing. I just like try to keep little pieces of my cosplays to like remind myself,
Mementos.
you can do it.
Nice.
I think my first closet cosplay was probably Ino Yamanaka or Hinata, one of those. But my first self-made cosplay was Sylvanas Windrunner from World of Warcraft, and that was actually the first armor build that I ever made as well. So, yeah, I just went all in with no experience.
My first was the Punisher. I spray painted the skull on a vest and got everything. But my first foam build was like a Targaryen armor I made myself, and it's just, it was good for the time. I was like really proud of it. But looking back, it was like really boxy and everything, and I eventually stripped it for parts because there was all those scales I did. So I saved the scales because those were good, but I threw out everything else. But now I'm a lot better. So, but you still got to be proud of where you started, at least. So.
Exactly.
your evolution. You know?
Appa, what was yours?
So looking back, I think my first cosplay was a local photographer. Like I had been modeling for a while, and she actually reached out to me, just based on look, and she had ordered like all the outfits for a lot of characters from The Witcher. So she asked me to do Yennefer, so that ended up being my first cosplay.
Nice. Farron's still frozen it for.
Yes,
Am I
but
really?
Yeah.
yes, but it's such a good photo. It's like yours looks so interested and so engaged, and like just happens to be
Oh,
here.
perfect. But can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just gonna tell you, and you can look at my picture. So my first cosplay was for the Xena convention in 2000. It was before Warbla, before EVA foam was a thing for cosplay, and I was Xena, and I made it with brown paper bags from Publix and paper mache, and
Wow.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. Also, Xena is one of my favorites.
Oh, I am
My favorite
obsessed.
shows.
Still obsessed.
Love it, especially when they did the Hercules crossover.
Mm-hmm.
Say less.
Chris, you have any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, let's get into conventions. What are you guys' favorite? What is everyone's favorite convention? If you can choose one.
I know mine.
I guess for the majority of conventions I go to I guess it has to be New York Comic Con, because I live in Jersey, but I was also I was born in New York originally, but I go to New York Comic Con every year. Been going since 2013, and but I've been to others like KatsuCon, C2E2, but favorite wise, I would say New York.
And I'm over in Oregon, near Portland. So usually I head over to Rose City Comic Con because I just head to my local cons. I'm actually going to Fan Expo, weather permitting, right after this. I've been to Emerald City, which is also good but large and can be overwhelming. I think Rose City is probably my favorite just because it's my first con that I've ever been to. It's got all of my local friends go to it. I'm like, oh, this just feels like home.
Well, for me, I'm from Atlanta, so Dragon Con is one of the obvious answers for me. My second favorite will probably actually be WonderCon for this past year. WonderCon is definitely a blast. Plan on going back this year, but Dragon Con, hands down, is my favorite.
We don't have that many cons here in Canada, so I'd probably have to go with Anime North or Toronto Comic Con or Fan Expo. That's pretty much the top three. Yeti Con isn't so bad as well. It's more of like an outdoor pool party.
Well, with me, since I'm like fairly new to the cosplay community, the last couple of cons that I've been to, it's like a tie between New York Comic Con and Brooklyn Comic Con. Brooklyn Comic Con is actually my first convention to the cosplay community. Even though it has mixed reviews, I really feel personally that to make that con absolutely fun is the right group of people to go with. That's what makes it worthwhile. Overall, my favorite Comic Con is New York Comic Con.
Okay, so my favorite con to cosplay at is different for like favorite con to like go to. I think my favorite one in general would probably be it was Fanime because it's kind of like a friendiversary for a lot of like my friends, and we actually don't get to see each other until that con like a year, so it's just like every year you better be there. So but I think my favorite one to cosplay at would be it just passed Anime Los Angeles. Also I got my little my Long Beach ribbons. It's just really fun. Like the ribbon thing really makes it so much so much fun. It's such a blast, and there's a lot of different places to like take photos at. So that's my favorite one to cosplay at.
My answer is going to be super predictable. BlizzCon is my favorite convention. It's actually the only American convention that I've been to. So, as Anthony mentioned, in Canada, we actually don't have that many conventions, which is sad. I have a bunch of bucket list conventions that I'd really like to go to, like Dragon Con, Hallmat, MagFest. Those are like aspirational. But yeah, right now, my top convention is BlizzCon because it's all about my favorite fandom.
I usually go to the big three in Southern California, which is LA Comic Con, WonderCon, and San Diego. But my favorite is WonderCon because I feel like it's very cosplay centric, and I feel like if you go there because it's cosplay, you don't really. There's no exclusives or all that. There probably is, but you don't go there you don't go inside. You don't go inside the convention. You stay outside and you hang out with your friends and you just wear your cosplays. And I always try to think of like trying to do like a big debut of a cosplay there. I always try to plan around that certain convention that I'm really excited about. Like last year I did Ronin, that was a big one, and then Nova the year before. But I just think it's a really great way where the cosplayers really have a good community versus like I enjoyed San Diego, but it's very like there's no area where
Very
everyone,
much that
conversates except for like a meetup because everyone's so scattered and everyone's there for exclusives or signings or something. But WonderCon's just for the cosplayers, so that's what I like.
Well, as someone else said, since like I'm also newer to the cosplay community, I have only been to one, but I loved it, and it was San Diego Comic Con, so that's been my only experience so far. Up until spring, summer is when I started traveling a lot for modeling and gigs and things. Prior to that, it had been really hard to travel with my job. So I'm hoping that I get to experience more cons in the future. I was supposed to go to New York City Con in October, but I got sick. Supposed to work the booth and everything, but I really love I don't know what other ones are like, but I really like fell in love with like the atmosphere and the energy in San Diego. Like I was nervous to go. I went myself. I traveled myself. Like nobody else was with me. It was just something that I really wanted to do. And I felt really like welcome there, and everybody just has really good energy, and it's just such a good place to be.
That's a big con to start off with, San Diego.
Go big or go home. I don't know. I was out in LA and Vegas for some like modeling and events. So I'm like, this is the one I want to go to. It makes sense. I have X amount of time off. I'm like gonna just do it. So
you just threw yourself in the deep end.
I did. It was a great experience.
Well, that's good. Farron?
So my favorite con is probably Gen Con, which I know it's a lot. It's not a very cosplay heavy convention, but it's full of tabletop gaming, and I feel like that's more my speed. I don't want to watch a lot of anime, so a lot of the conventions are kind of out of my wheelhouse. Coming from Florida, it's probably a tie between MegaCon and Gen Con, just because I've been to MegaCon so many times and I go with my friends, and it's a really good. It's like the perfect size convention for me. It's not too huge. Like Dragon Con is a little overwhelming. I'm sure San Diego Comic Con would be overwhelming for me as well. But yeah, so I don't know, MegaCon or Gen Con, probably Gen Con. But for cosplaying, MegaCon.
If there's a con that you can go to anywhere in the world, I guess, if you don't know particularly, which country would you like to go to a convention? I mean, me personally, it has to be Dragon Con. I've heard Chris and various people talk so much about it that I have to go.
It's amazing. That was my first out of state convention last year or year before last. changed my life. Changed my life. It was so fun. First time into Atlanta. Now the weather. Now the weather.
It's hot.
I personally, if you're gonna ask what is your favorite like convention not to cosplay at, it would be that one because it is. I'm not used to the humidity. It's a lot. It was hot. It was like overcast and hot, but it was a great convention. I was just like my body was just like not used to the weather, and I was like, they're like, you should bring Cyborg to cosplay, and I was like, I would like to live to see 25, please. I would like to see my next birthday.
CJ, what country or con would you like to visit?
Well, con wise, like I would like Date, I would love to do like the Dragon Con. Like I have a friend that goes there. He's been going for the past 2 years. Can't shut up about it. He's like 5 days of nonstop cosplaying. I'm like, it just sounds like a marathon to me.
That's tired.
Yeah. But like if I was gonna say like from another country standpoint, probably like Toronto Comic Con, like up to your guys' neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Like that's like Fan Expo Toronto or Toronto Comic Con, whatever.
You've always got a space at our booth, man. Don't worry about it.
I appreciate you. But for out of the country, it'll be Toronto.
Whenever you're coming, let me know.
Oh, I definitely will.
I want to go to D23, and I'm revealing myself as the biggest Disney bitch here.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to wear all of the pretty princess dresses. And
where is that?
That's in California, I think, right next to Disneyland.
Yeah, and then yeah.
So the plan is, tack on a Disney trip, and it'll be perfect, and I'll be so exhausted for the entire year. It only happens every other year too, so.
Yeah.
Where would I want to? I think for me, it would probably be Japan. Going to Tokyo Comic Con. I think that would be cool. It'd be fun. I was planning on going 2020, but of course, pandemic. So it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So my conventions overseas, one in particular is the one in London. It starts with an M. I think it's somewhere in
MCM.
Yeah, there you go. So that's one of the locations. And then as somebody pointed about here in the States, Dragon Con, because I have tons of mutuals that won't shut up about Dragon Con. I have to sometimes not look at stories because it's like, damn, you got all my mutuals out there, and meanwhile I'm over here in New York, like just watching from afar. But yeah, MCM and MCM and Dragon Con are like my two that I would like to go to. But I was really happy to see Chris when he came to New York Comic Con. So it's like, I was like, okay, since I didn't see him over there, at least I got to see him over here. So that was cool.
It's nice. Date, where do you want to go?
Ooh, okay. So I really, honestly, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but we'll see. Going to, I think it's called the International Cosplay Competition. It's like a convention and a competition. It's like everybody from all around the world goes to like do this competition, and I really want to go so bad. Even if I'm not in the competition, I would love to like just go and like see and meet people. And I think it's in Sweden.
I was gonna ask if it was Netherlands or Sweden. I couldn't remember.
Yes, it's one of those. And there's people from everywhere. It's like the like biggest international cosplay contest. And I was like, oh, I must go just to see like everybody. It's like that arc in anime where all the big people are coming. You're like, yes, I need to be here. Yeah. I need to do the things.
Yeah, I heard about that one actually. Yeah.
It's wild. Like there's just so many people there, like sewists and people who do armor and people and they just spend months and months and months and months on this one cosplay. I'm trying to get there because I have this problem where I just like to do all kinds of different cosplays every month. One of these days.
For me, other than the obvious answer that I already mentioned, which is Dragon Con and Hallmat, I've heard so many good things about both of those. Other than those two, I was actually going to say the same thing as Date, the one in the Netherlands. I once saw like a YouTube video of like the competition that they have there, and I was so blown away. It was like the biggest armor builds that I have ever seen in my life, and it was just super inspiring. I'd love to be there even just to watch. That would be super sick.
Let's go together.
Yeah.
Group trip.
I'd like to go to MCM as well to be cool to visit some UK friends on from Instagram. I also like Dragon Cons when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go this year, but then I never do. I always get too anxious about traveling with my cosplays because I make big things. So I was like, how do I get this across the country? Or I almost went to New York this year though, because Will Poulter was going to be there. He does Adam Warlock, but then he dropped out. So then I dropped out. So I was like, maybe it was for the best because I was like, I can do it. And then I was just so nervous thinking, how am I going to get this thing? Like, I don't trust people. How am I going to get it? And it's so precious. And I'm like so baby with like my stuff. And I don't want some flight attendant guy just whipping shit
throwing
around.
in, kicking it.
So it's for the best. So Will Poulter, please come to Southern California.
Can you imagine someone stealing your luggage, thinking they're gonna?
Oh my god!
Really cool.
And it's just costumes, and they're just like, yeah, no.
Someone said that they had to open their Pelican case, and it was Iron Man armor, and they said the security guy was just so confused.
That's probably Frank.
Probably, yeah.
That's funny.
Imagine seeing your costume on someone on Instagram, though. Hapa, where would you want to go?
Those Dragon Cons like on the list too. I hear so many good things. I mean, there's so many. But there's one in the Philippines, I believe, in Manila. Does anybody know about that one? I think it's the Asia top one. Are you familiar with that?
I've got to Google that.
I think there is one, and I mean, I have family in the Philippines, so I feel like that one would be really cool to go to.
Asia Pop?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Maybe it's not a super popular one.
And Comic Con with a K, K-O-M-I-K. There's two of them, I think. That'd be nice. Farron.
Yeah, so if I went overseas, it'd probably be Supernova over in Australia, because I've always wanted to go to Australia, and it seems like a really fun convention. And then being obsessed with Xena, I can just hop over to New Zealand and see the Shire and the beach where they filmed a lot of Xena. But for the States, I would definitely say BlizzCon, because I am a big WoW head, and it's always been, I actually have a couple of Blizzard builds in the works right now, so I would love to go to BlizzCon.
Yes. Let me look at the questions here. Other than Date, because I already know you're at 98, how many cosplays have you guys done so far? You guys have a count? Date is the only one keep a count.
I have a problem. I'm sorry, y'all.
That's so much.
No, I have a list.
I just have 9 names. That's all I can remember off the top.
Like on my photo gallery, I have a timeline folder called Beginning to Present. So from my very first build to now, just like pictures. It says currently I have 15. So
okay,
from throughout the years.
I don't even know the count.
Well, that's understandable. I was just asking, see if anyone was up there with Date right now.
Well, quick question.
127.
quick question. Are we counting like now my friend asked me this, and they're like, "How many cosplays do you have?" And I was like, "Are we counting like characters, or are we counting
No.
cosplays?"
Cosplays.
Okay, well then there's a little bit more then. 'Cause I've done like Aquaman 3 times, 3 different costumes, but I count that as one character. So that's like one. So when I'm counting my up to my 100, they count as one, not as like, multiple. So like when I do this Storm cosplay I'm working on, I already did Storm like back in the day, so that's still gonna be like one. It's technically not gonna count. But
so you're in like the 200 range, I'm assuming.
Oh no. I'm probably already at like 100 maybe when we put it like that, but I was trying to like, make it more fair for myself. I don't know.
This is a good question here. What con have you gone to I would not go back to?
I don't know if I have one that I wouldn't.
I see Lorenzo putting his hand up.
Well,
Spill the tea, Lorenzo. What do you got?
Well, being that, like I said, I'm fairly new to the cosplay community. I have been to a handful of cons by now in these last 2 years, but one con I'm not going back to this year is unfortunately Big Apple Con. Now, it's like one of the smaller cons, and don't get me wrong, I do love small cons, but this particular one that I went to last year, I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's family friendly and everything, but it's like the vibe is just, it's like I don't like the location that they hold the event at. I feel like it's a place that I'm not gonna go back to, and I'm gonna replace it with Fan Expo Philadelphia this year instead, as a convention I'm gonna go to.
Good choice.
I've been I would go to this convention again, but I wouldn't do San Diego 4 days again. I did that my first year. I just wasn't a big fan of it because it was so big and it was not very cosplay heavy. So I was like, so what are we just walking around? Like, I don't like to buy stuff these things. I already have too much material items, and I did it this year. I just did Saturday, and that was perfect. So that only one day again. San Diego, too much. So.
There are a lot of like small town cons. I wouldn't say I wouldn't go back, but I literally walked through the whole con in about 3 minutes. It's yeah, for what it is what it is. But yeah, those are probably not on my list to rush to.
Honestly, I feel Namor Cosplay said he would only go like one day for San Diego. I usually don't go to San Diego Comic-Con because one, they can't get tickets, and two, it's just super industry heavy. So I go to everything else, and I live in San Diego, so it's like my hometown con. But honestly, after this past year, LA Comic-Con, if I'm gonna spill the tea, it rubs me the wrong way. It rubs me the wrong way so hard. Now, cosplay wise, it was fun. I got to see Chris. I got to see Namor. I got to cosplay stuff was fun. All that was great. But I had an issue with like the time. So you didn't really get a full day in the beginning. I think
Friday was weird.
Friday they opened up at 4:00. And then they closed at 7, and then they opened at 9, and then they closed at maybe 7 that night. Saturday they closed at 7, and then they were open at 9, and then they closed at 5, 4 or 5, and that was the con. And we were like, why did I pay this much money for that ticket when really we only got 2 days, honestly? And I was like, that's not 3 days. Yeah,
I usually skip Friday myself.
Right. So we were just getting into town that day too. So it's just wasn't really a whole day of things. And it was still a good con when it came to being in the park, but I probably would only go to Saturday because that's when everybody was there. And yeah, that was what was worth it, honestly. But I would have. You at least take those ticket prices down if you're going to do that. Or extend the time, make it one more day if you can. I mean, people get their money's worth.
For me, I would say I don't know if I would ever do whole Madigans because they're changed. Like, there's been a lot of stuff going on with whole Mad, but they're changing the venue, and it's just going to be a regular like convention hall versus where they had it at, which I think made it different and kind of made the experience what it was. So I probably won't do whole Mad again.
I heard about that, and it makes me really sad because I never got to experience Hallmat the way that like everyone loves it so much. So that's a bummer.
Yeah,
is that the water one?
Yeah.
We're gonna actually be talking about it in about 2 weeks. Cassandra Cosplays is gonna be doing a podcast about that. And a few other things cosplay related with the conventions itself. Has anyone guessed at a convention before?
I did guess at a convention. It was trying to remember which one was it. It was one of the fairly new ones in New York that literally debuted last year. It was called Co-op City Con. So I guess that one that was like kind of like my end of the year con. And I made a guest appearance at CradleCon because I was attached to a cosplay group called the NY Avengers. So that was technically a guest I was a part of.
That's nice. Yeah, because I've been hearing a lot of stories, I guess, with the bigger cons, especially from cosplayers as well. They're not treating them well, but a lot of these smaller cons seem to be more fair, I guess. Cosplay World Con. I saw that DJ Croft and stuff is going there. Shinobi.
Yeah, I just saw that. Cosplay World is, but I do know, people, some of the people behind that con, so they're actually, some pretty good people, and they, are fair and know what cosplayers go through, the work they put in and things like that. So, that's one I do want to go to. Unfortunately, this year I won't be able to make it, but maybe next year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I've guessed at a couple of local cons before. Well, there's a con here in Jersey called Garden State Comic Fest that I've guested at for the last couple of years. It's a nice small con out in Morristown, New Jersey. But I'm also a part of a team called Paladins of Cosplay, and we're actually the exclusive cosplay repair team for New York Comic Con. So technically, we are guests for it, but we help the community over there at the Javits Center. But I've also done other small cons that I would never go back to, nor have they ever redid that con since that time. But other than that, I've done a couple of cons as a guest.
Never guessed it at any cons. I don't even know how you become a guest at a con, but I'm assuming that you have to put in an application, right? Or
sometimes they reach out to you.
It's a combination, or reaching out, putting out a guest application.
Well, I've never been a guest anywhere like that. But I feel like a guest at the last couple cons because I'm the only person cosplaying Cyborg. So at San Diego Comic Con, at LA Comic Con, and at WonderCon. I think actually at WonderCon there was one other Cyborg cosplayer, but all the other cons I've been to that I've worn Cyborg, which is probably 3 or 4, I'm the only Cyborg cosplayer, and I'm like, where are all the Cyborg cosplayers at? So I feel like a celebrity. I feel like a guest, but you get a standing ovation for cosplaying one character that nobody's cosplaying. So that feels kind of cool. I guess it's kind of like guessing, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that con was in the gym. I was reading the chat. Sorry about that.
Let's see.
Yeah, someone said there was a convention in some kind of gym. Oh, okay.
Right. What?
Gym?
Gym kind in a gym, like in a gymnasium.
So money not being an option. What's your dream build? CJ.
That's difficult, man. Like technically, in 2023, I did my dream build. I've been waiting. I've been holding off for 6 years to do that build. It's Saboteur from the CW Flash series.
It's so good.
Thanks, man.
How hard was that?
Like I said, I've been preparing on what to do and how to do it for 6 years. So like the original build from the show, they had like a muscle suit base, then they had a fabric suit over it. But then on the muscle suit base, they have lights that go from underneath, so all the lights can go underneath the metal plating. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's probably gonna be super hot. And even though EVA foam is hot as is, but imagine wearing a muscle suit and having armor. But I just did the full EVA foam route. I actually got insight on what to do after my Atrocitus build, the Red Lantern leader from DC Comics, and that build gave me insight on how to do Savitar. And then just throughout the years, just planning and doing whatever you need to do. And I think it came out good. I was happy with it, and wore it on Saturday at New York Comic Con. So
no, I saw it. I didn't realize it was you. I just saw it. I just like freaked out. I was like, yo, this is crazy. It's one of the craziest builds I've seen in person.
Thanks, man. Yeah, because actually this is the lightning bolt, one of the test prints for the lightning bolt for the chest emblem. And but yeah, it was a fun build to do, and I'm happy it got a good reception at the con and people liked it. So
my dream build would be, so have you seen Ever After? I want to do Danielle's Just Breathe ball gown dress. It's silver and off the shoulders with the wings, and she's got like sparkly makeup. It's got just so much trim everywhere, and it's going to be so expensive because of all of that trim. And someday I thought I'm just going to have to start gathering little bits and pieces of that trim because I'm never going to be able to get it all at once. Oh, but it's going to be so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, my dream cosplay I've done, but not at a con yet. Is Blank Man, and I haven't done it yet. Yes. Partly because I want to have another guy with me, which Swaggy's supposed to do at some point. But if there's a build, so the Urkel bot from Steve Urkel, that's up there for me. Robot and all of WonderCon, looking for Allura, whatever.
That would be so perfect.
That's my dream right there.
I'm looking at it right now. Let me see.
Wow.
I'm just trying to remember what it looks like.
That memory unlocked. Memory unlocked.
That's it.
That is so good.
Peak right there.
I've always wanted to do a fully functional Batman costume, but I haven't found 3D files for that yet.
Well, being that I don't really create my suits, but I do have like heavy input in what I do have the makers make. I'm actually currently have my dream cosplay on me right now, which was the Venomized Miles Morales outfit. I debuted it at the end of December, and so far it's been doing positively right now on the internet because I've seen people do symbiont versions of Miles, but I don't see anybody doing the Disney XD version of Venomized Miles Morales. So it's pretty cool that like I'm like the only one that's doing it at the moment. And the other cosplay is actually a DC cosplay, is Batman Beyond. That's my dream cosplays. But
I've got that ready. But not you're doing the spandex suit.
Yes.
Okay. I got the armored one in the vault waiting.
Oh, nice.
I mean, you've
I
got like
wanted-
200, so I think you've hit your.
You know,
If you haven't done
Just
your
flip a
dream
coin.
cosplay,
Just flip a coin.
okay, honestly, so I'm being so dead ass right now. My Pinterest is full of, so whenever I have an idea or whenever I have a thing I want to do, I make a Pinterest for it and I get all the things for it in that Pinterest. All of my cosplays start up here, and they're 75% of the cosplays are started and like completed in my brain, and like the actual construction literally is like 10% of like what actually happens in my brain, because I'm a crazy mad scientist person. But Cyborg was that one, but I had like some bigger things that I want to do. I wanted to do Vulture from Spider-Man. I had some Digimon cosplays, because those things are extra crazy. I want to redo some other stuff. I got some anime builds that are crazy and big, but I think if I would start with the villain, it would be Vulture. Just I don't know what it is about the wings, but I just want to do those huge. But I know they're gonna be huge. Because this is the thing. I'm 6'5", right? And when you like proportionizing things to your body, so like if a person has a weapon, if I make it the size it is for the character, it's gonna be like this big. I'm gonna be holding a little choppy stick, but that means I have to I just did a Mei cosplay, and I had to make it like extra big so it could like fit my body. So those wings are gonna be like 20 times bigger than what they gotta be, but I'm excited for it.
As a fellow big guy, I feel you so hard on that right now. Like I'm 6'3", and yeah, I understand completely.
You just because it won't look right. You'll be like,
exactly. It's all about proportions. Yeah.
I don't want to look like a bee.
How expensive it is to be a tall cosplayer. You get to buy more
Yes.
material. So
Yeah. No. Especially fabric is extremely expensive now, and it's like, well, this only takes 5 yards. I need 6 yards and a half, maybe 7, just in case I fuck up and need to do a little thing. But this fabric costs $29 a yard.
Let's say get 8 for extra measure.
You know what I mean? Measure 17 times, cut once.
Onyxia, what's your dream cosplay?
Yeah, so technically I've already done my dream cosplay, because as I mentioned before, Sylvanas Windrunner was my dream cosplay, and she was my first armor build. So like she's the reason I got into cosplay in the first place, because I really wanted to cosplay her and I couldn't afford to commission an armor build. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do it myself, but I've never done it before. What do I do? Well, that's how I got into cosplay. But if I could do it again, I definitely would. So I plan on redoing her eventually, since I've leveled up my skills a little bit since then. And she has also a bunch of different models. So I would just like to cosplay her in every version. And then I would also eventually like to cosplay something with wings, such as Lilith from Diablo.
Ooh.
That would be really sick.
Yeah. I think Jillia did that, right? You know Jillia from
yes, yeah.
Yes,
Julia. Yeah. She did, and she did an awesome job.
Yeah, I love her. Are you in the Toronto area?
Yeah.
Okay.
I talk to Julia sometimes, actually.
We have to meet at the next con.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely. Namor, what's yours?
I actually already technically did it as well. It's Ronan the Accuser. I actually, in 2018, when I was getting started, I attempted to build him, but I gave up after a little bit because it was really difficult.
Bro, that came out so nice, though.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is.
Thank you. It was
so good.
Like last year, I was like burnt out from Namor, so I need to do something different. And I was like, you know what? I have the skills. I know a lot now. So I attempted Ronan. I did him for WonderCon, and that was really exciting. And then I brought him to San Diego, and I won the Marvel cosplay contest with him. So that was kind of cathartic, just to do like the full circle moment. And I just did some updates for LA Comic Con, which I'm really proud of. But yeah, he's probably this thing. I'm just like, I did everything. I learned my own makeup, and felt like I kind of satisfied the giving up in 2018, and I was like, I could do it now. But I also got to agree with the wings that everyone's saying is my next dream is to do Annihilus from the comics, Marvel Comics. He's a big villain. He does like
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Like in Fantastic Four, but he's also did Annihilation as one of my favorite comic book storylines of all time. It involves Nova. We've also cosplayed, and I thought it'd be really cool if I could do Annihilus and then also have like a shoot where like I edit like my Annihilus and then my Nova at the same time. I think that'd be really cool to be the hero and the villain. So we'll see. But I have to make some giant wings as well because I'm also 6'3". So I'm going to be knocking people out of the way at the conventions. So yeah.
Happo, what do you have? What do you want to do?
I feel like everybody's super tall here. I'm like 5'2" over here. I mean, it might be a little simplistic. There's like a couple answers, but I've always wanted to do Sailor Mars. I just enjoy, grew up with the series and just feel like she's cute and I loved her. So I think she would be fun. And then I guess a big goal that I have is I already said I loved Katana, like cosplaying her. I just feel like she's a really strong character and she has fun props. And my goal is to, like, I put together like a costume for her, but I just would want to like create more from like scratch, more of a more tailored outfit for me in the future.
You can get someone to do a commission for you easily.
Yeah. Still kind of planning it out, so we'll see.
Farron, what's your dream cosplay?
So I actually want to redo my Xena cosplay, so it'll be my third Xena. I want to make her out of real leather and make all of the armor out of like a flexible polyurethane, which I haven't actually done that yet, so that would be skill building for sure. And then you guys are talking about wings. I also have a wing cosplay, which is Grace from Soulfire, and her wings are like double iridescent dragonfly, and I want them to open up, and I haven't figured out how to do that because she's very skimpy, so like harness work wouldn't really work. So it's more of a technical thing than money thing for me.
Implants.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm looking at the character. Is this the character here? Where's my head?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, the wings are very they stick straight out. It'd be hard to do. But yeah, I think you could do it.
Eventually.
Just put your mind to it, you'll get to it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Practice, progress, time, and money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, as you guys were talking about yours, I was actually thinking about it. Like, I just looked at my cosplay wall because I literally forgot about it. I actually would love to do a reiteration of my anti-venom. Like beefy and bulky, because back in 2018 I actually did one, and I didn't like it, and I love anti-venom, so I think maybe next year I'll probably get to do that one.
That'll be awesome.
Nice.
All right, I have some questions. I think Hap will be able to help out with this one too. For a lot of people doing cosplay shoots, and this is more for like safety. What advice would you give when you're shooting with a new photographer or someone you don't really know?
Bring a friend. Literally had a cosplayer that I met at DreamHack. They're younger, and they were like, hey, somebody approached us and approached me to do a cosplay thing, met them at a whatever. They seem really cool, this, that, and the other. But what do you think I should do? I've never I don't know. They're inviting me to this studio to shoot there. So what should I do? I don't know. I was like, well, one, bring a friend. If you're not sure, bring a friend. Be trust your gut. Because there are really cool people out there, and there are also not very cool people out there. And not everybody has the luxury of being 6'5" and 293 pounds. You know what I mean? Although, still, depending on whoever you are, still be careful because you never know. But like those situations can be very dangerous. Always bring a friend. Always let somebody know where you're gonna be and how long you're gonna be there. So if you go over time, they can be like, "Hey, just checking up on you. You know, you say you're gonna be done at this time," so they can come to the spot. And you know, you just want to make sure that you have things in place and make sure this other person knows that people know where you're at. You know what I mean? As a deterrent. Not to say that they are gonna be that person, but you just want to make sure. You know.
Yeah.
You
I
need
can
Yeah, I
somebody
think
to
it's
come.
really important. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was
No,
just
I'm done. Yeah.
I was just gonna mention also asking around the community for references. So like if I'm gonna be working with a new person, usually I'll check a look at their feed, see who I know that they have worked with also, and I'll just message a couple people being like, "Hey, did you have a good experience working with this person?" So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's just very important since I've been modeling a while. Just any kind of modeling, you just want to really vet your photographer, like do research on them, reach out to people who have references. I mean, first of all, look at their work. You know, you can pretty much tell if someone's a legitimate photographer or not. I guess I've had a lot of guidance because I'm dating a photographer, so he kind of like has always helped guide me, and you know there's some people aren't great out there. I mean, there's a lot of good people, but you always have to be careful.
Especially check their portfolio. This is more of a concern for me because I'm more of a like plus size cosplayer. So I usually look at their portfolio to see if they are taking pictures of people like me, or if they're going to treat people like me well, if they're going to have a bunch of different people, or if they only have this one specific set of person. I mean, you all have covered a lot too.
Yeah, so what I want to piggyback off on what everybody said, it's important to check people's portfolio research, bring a friend. That friend, you can use them as the behind the scene person, so that way they don't feel completely left out. They can actually be involved in the shoot where they're filming what's happening during the shoot. Another thing I would suggest is also if you're new with photographers, don't let the photographer 100% control over whatever it is that your vision is. I say have some type of input. Make sure your voice is being heard. Yes, they're making suggestions about how they want things to be or whatever, but you are also the director and not just the actor. So give some type of input in whatever it is that you're presenting with your pictures.
Yeah, especially when you're collaborating. It's important that you both have like equal parts to the vision and the final product. It's a little different when like one person reaches out or somebody else does, or if it's like a photographer, if somebody has a specific vision that they want to bring to life, then it gets a little like murky with like who pays who. But in general, with collaborations, I agree like you should both have a voice in your vision.
And know that your no is important. Like, you can leave. No photo session is going to be more important than if you feel super, super uncomfortable. You are the most important.
I would say also be okay with speaking up. I've gotten better at that myself, especially because I work with kind of mostly the same photographer now. But especially if you're paying for a shoot, like make sure you're just checking that you're getting exactly what you want out of it. And they'd be like, well, I don't want to like trouble them, but it's like, no, I'm paying you, and this is what I want out of it. Like, don't be like an asshole about it, but just like if you don't like an angle or you don't like what they're doing and you want to tell them what to do, like in a nice way, a constructive, creative way, that's the best way to do it. Because I know I'm not wasting my money on something I'm not gonna like. You're going through your pictures like, oh, like crap. Oh, that one's okay. Like
yeah.
To piggyback off of that, another good idea would be to kind of like either talk on the phone or like have a Zoom, like just a little meeting with the photographer ahead of time so that you guys are on the same page. Then you can kind of like feel somebody out too. And they should be willing to do that, especially if you are the one paying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to add anything, Farron?
Yeah. So sometimes, like I just have a my photographer who just did my my Green Lantern photos. He's a friend of a friend, and we've become like friends now. And he's doing this for free because he's like, hey, I really want to be involved. I really want to work with you. And in those situations, there'll be people that are like, hey, I would like to work with you, and you're not paying money, but also I know it can be kind of weird or like, well, I'm not paying, so that means that I have to do these things. You still have an option to be like, hey, this doesn't make me feel comfortable, or this, because sometimes you're like, well, they're doing me a solid, so that means I have to do these things, which is not true, because they are also making a choice. Now, it's great if you have that kind of relationship to be like, hey, I'm doing this, we're doing this, I'll bring you some food, I'll bring you a drink, I'll bring you a whatever to try to offset, but ultimately they are also making that choice, especially if they're a professional photographer, or a photographer who is paying for, have usually has their time paid for. So don't feel too bad, that is happening. You know what I mean? Because that can get kind of muddled.
Had anyone heard this before? A photographer say this before? A Todd told me he did not know how to shoot me because of my skin color when I first started back in 2011.
Not anyone told me that, but I know there are definitely photographers that don't, just because they don't hardly
that
work
won't
with
shoot
people.
you. That won't shoot
That
you.
won't show. Oh yeah, no. I asked them. I have to be really like. I try not to be, because I scare people a little bit because I'm kind of big. But I'm like, they're like, I love your costume. Or can we shoot? I'm like, that's cool. Can you shoot people of color? Have you shot people of color? And how many of people of color have you shot? And if I'm in a group where everybody else is like lighter toned than I am, I'm still asking, do you know how to shoot people of color in a group of people who are fair skinned? Because I will come out looking like one of these blacked out squares if I'm shooting. If you don't understand how that works, like right next to each other, right? You have all these colors from our costumes, then you have our skin tones, and depending on where I'm at in the photo, and usually I'm tall, so I'm in the back, I'm gonna look really dark, and they're gonna look really washed out because of our tones being so opposite, So it's like I gotta ask these questions now, because also I'm not wasting our time or your time. You know what I mean? It's just something that I think it's okay to do. But I've heard it, or you could see it, and sometimes it's a nice way, like, hey, I really don't, and that's okay. We can still try. And then there's times that weren't so great. They were kind of crappy, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, whatever,
Yeah, it's very important to piggyback on what you said. It's very important to actually have that conversation because, me, I'm more of a light skin tone, but you have to keep in mind, a particular color. You may look reddish in pictures or dark. Me, I'm fortunate to be wearing mask, but I'm also a person that I don't want to always take pictures wearing my mask. Sometimes I do want to show my face in my cosplay. And, it's good to have these conversations to let them know in advance, hey, how do you adjust your lighting? Is there a way to be able to edit this a certain way? Look at some of their portfolio at other cosplayers that may look like you and see if they are able to, give you whatever it is that you ask for. If you're paying for it, obviously you want to get your money's worth. Me, I have been fortunate to work with a lot of photographers for free because they've been, very helpful to me, and I also have been helpful to them in return to give them exposure. I have done paid shoots, but to the people that do allow you to do it for free or whatever, have that good business relationship, but also never let them overstep the boundaries. You want to treat them the same way you would if it was a paid shoot, in my opinion.
Makes sense. And, now out of the photography, convention wise, uh, what are the boundaries that you guys set at conventions for patrons and cosplayers alike? Like, I mean, is there certain? How do you go about telling a cosplayer like, "Don't touch me"? You know, how do you guys set those boundaries or
I was
establish
like,
those boundaries at conventions?
I'd like to say, not the touching thing, but the boundary wise, I was very proud of myself at LA Comic Con, because usually like you get a cosplay and like you want people to take photos, but people ask for photos and you're just like you just say yes because you're just there even though you're tired. But at LA Comic Con, I was like really tired as Ronan that day, and people were asking for photos. I was just like no, and I gotta say I was just very proud that I've become more about saying no to stuff if I'm like exhausted or because you gotta do a pose and it's like I don't want to make a pose right now. I'm tired, man. Like even if you're involved in cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
because
think I
used to be a
was there.
screencaster, like one time I was like just walking home and they're just like, oh, can I get a photo? I was like, half my things unzipped, bro. Like no.
No.
What are you
Yeah, I
gonna do
was
with this
gonna
stuff
say,
anyway?
I think I remember one of at the end of that because you were like, I think you were like, can you just unzip me? Can you like
Yeah.
give me?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, you were there. They were like, "Can I get a photo?" I was like, "Do you see what he's doing?"
Like,
Like, do you guys think
half my
there's
stuff
a
is
better
off.
understanding, amongst cosplayers, rather than the general public?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get the pain.
Absolutely.
And if I'm with a friend, like I've been with friends like myself, I'll be tired and I'll still take a photo. But there are times where you've been with a friend all day, you can tell that they're just exhausted, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say no for them because I know they want to, but they're not going to do it. Politely, like
Politely. Hey, sorry, we gotta go. Hey, sorry,
That's what
we're
I was
actually
saying.
on
I
our
was
way
like, "Oh, we're going
somewhere.
over here." Like,
Yeah.
sorry. Go.
Maybe catch us later at the gathering or something. But you gotta draw that line hard, especially when you're this one niche thing and everybody's like, yes, and you're like, no, I cannot.
Yeah.
I have to take this off. I'm hurting. I'm tired. My feet hurt. And I know I'm not going to take a good picture, and I'm not going to have a bunch of raggedy pictures floating around in the internet, like looking all crotchety. You know what I mean?
I do have to tell people, when some people will ask for a photo and you're like, 1 second, let me get ready, let me get together, and you're like, wait, I'm like,
Right.
you're gonna get your photo, but just wait until I have everything in my cosplay on.
Relax.
It's
Yeah.
crazy how some people can't wait. It's like, what? Like, literally, people were getting annoyed. I'm like, do you not see how many people, like, that's something that I think I can be better at. Obviously, I'd only gone to one Comic Con and it was a fairly big one. So yeah, after like 7 hours, I was exhausted. I couldn't even walk anymore because I had worn heels. Like, what kind of idea was that? But like, I was just taking photos like constantly all day, and I had been I collaborated with a pretty big YouTuber while I was there. So like I started setting boundaries like as I was like leaving. So like people were like I was like I need to eat something. Like, it got to the point where I was like legit hangry and like couldn't walk. So I think I get better at setting those boundaries next time.
I actually thought the whole like eating thing was just kind of like people being dramatic online, but then I actually experienced it. I was up against a wall. I was Nova, my helmet, my bracers, and my boots were all off, and I was sitting eating chicken nuggets. And they're like, "Can I get a photo for Nova?" I was like,
no.
I have a mouthful of food. Like all my shit's not off of me right now. What do you think's gonna happen? Like,
right.
That's kind of funny.
I feel like it's like social cues and self-awareness too. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there's been a bunch of times, like some of my friends are like eating at New York Comic Con or something, and there's literally someone going up to them as they're eating. Oh, can I take a picture of you? They're like, well, I'm eating and I'm half, like my cosplay's half off. They just take it anyway. They didn't care. I'm just like, what's the whole point?
I feel now, especially with TikTok and YouTube Shorts and stuff like that, people taking videos of you doing stuff like that is kind of more like here's Adam Warlock having a slice of pizza. You know what I mean? It's the chances of you being videotaped or taking a photo of when you're doing something obscure or normal is gonna happen.
Although I don't eat in costume makeup, so that's always a struggle.
Yeah, I don't eat at all at conventions. I know it's crazy, but you know,
No, you're not the
I,
only one.
part of it too. Part of it's for two reasons. One, you know, I wear a mask all day. Another thing is, it's expensive as hell buying food at conventions. So it's like I rather just pack lunch and then eat when the event is over. Or I have had moments where a photographer, I think this happened like maybe 2 or 3 times, where they see that my mask is off and everything or whatever. I'm like, wait, let me just get set up or whatever. Let me catch a breather, because it ain't easy wearing these masks, especially being Deadpool. It's like one of my hardest cosplays to wear. And you had to like let people know, because they will try to do a sneak in. They're like, and
Definitely.
the funny thing about mask cosplayers is you can't like act like that we can't see what's going on. Like, I pay attention to everything. You think just because I have a mask on and lens you can't see my eyes moving or whatever? I watch everything that people do around me. So I will intentionally pose for you in a sarcastic way if you're about to take a picture of me without my consent. So
Sometimes the body language is enough. I'll give like the resting bitch face or turn away, walk away.
Yeah.
if I'm Deadpool, I will do this to you.
They probably think you're a character, though.
Yeah, but that's what they
Very
want.
on brand.
It is not in character.
I will say, for the candid photos are nice, but generally it's people that I know that know me that are
Right.
taking the candid photos.
Yes.
Farron's been quite. I know she's been frozen here, but
I tried to unfreeze. It didn't work.
Let it go.
Yeah, you've been quiet, so you can chime in.
I mean, I agree with everything that everyone's been saying. I don't want to, complain about people taking inappropriate photos, but you get the directors too that are like, oh, do this pose, oh, do that pose, and it's like, dude, I'm gonna be late for my table, but I mean, I've been fairly fortunate, I think. There's not a whole lot of, I feel like the more people cosplay, the more cosplayers that there are, the more considerate they are, because they're in that position. So I feel like it's definitely getting better between people that are in cosplay.
I agree. And I was actually just thinking about this. I think conventions have also become a little bit more aware of it. Like at recent conventions that I've been to, I sometimes will see signs, like big signs that say cosplay is not consent, or, ask permission before photographing a cosplayer. So I think the awareness goes a long way. And recently, I've had pretty good experiences, although there was one time when I was putting on my Alex Straza at the beginning of a convention, and I was just like so disheveled and messy looking. So that kind of sucked, having people coming up being like, hey, can I take a picture of you while you're getting dressed? Like, that's kind of weird.
No, thank you.
No thanks. Yeah, but I think it's been getting a little bit better because of the awareness that's being built up.
Side note, shout out to the mutual in the chat.
Give him a
Yes. Flex It Felix cosplay, amazing cosplayer, was my Beast Boy for San Diego Comic-Con. So if you saw Beast Boy in his red and white outfit, that was that Beast Boy. Amazing cosplayer. Also, San Diego Comic-Con, me and some other friends, other cosplayers, went to a nightclub and did the costume contest, and we won $400.
Oh, nice. If you drank, that covers drinks for the night.
Right. Oh yeah, no, we all got like $50, I think. That's cute. It was and drink tickets. It was pretty rad.
So I had Jody Brosis on the podcast a while back, and we were talking about Cassandra and her were talking about the touching Because when you are taking photos, I guess with people that probably aren't cosplayers or regular attendees at the con, they do try to like, or think they can put their arm around you without asking, or you know what I mean, like not inappropriately touching, but I feel like it might come across as inappropriate to some cosplayers, right? So how do you guys like deal with that if someone's like, oh, can I hug? For male and female cosplayers, how do you guys do that? Oh, can you lift me up, or can you do this? Something they're not comfortable doing.
I feel that. Oh, sorry to cut you off. I feel like it's always good to ask before you do something or whatever. I respect a lot of people that ask me beforehand. I walk around with a plush doll cat for my Spider-Man costume, and everybody's always asking me, "Can I pet your cat? Like, can I pet your cat?" I'm like, "Thank you." And they just pet the cat, whatever. If I'm Deadpool and they want me to do something ridiculously crazy, they always ask in advance before I do something with them. So, because, sometimes certain Deadpool cosplayers, they do get a little carried away. I personally don't overstep my boundaries with, the mercy with the mouth, but it's always good to ask for permission before you do something.
I was going to say, there's this weird thing people have an issue with, like, they always want to touch my Infinity Stone and my hammer.
Yeah.
They're just like, don't touch that. It's like, it's super glue and it's like gonna stay, but don't touch it. Like,
You want to feel the power,
I know. It's like, hey, it's like, wow, it's so cool. It's like, don't touch it. Like, and I'm not like nice. I'm not like mean about it. I'm just like, I'm very hurt about it. Like, no, it's like, I don't want to break.
You asked me. I saw you at the con and immediately went to touch the stone.
Oh,
you're like, no, don't do it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, I'm just so nervous about it, But people do try to touch some like cosplay armor, and it's like you just gotta be sure, like, hey, just don't touch that, like, because you get so nervous.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Like, I think it was back in 2022. It was on Saturday at New York Comic Con, and it was the first time I wore my Red Lantern Atrocitus build, and because also that was a very last minute build. That was my very first time wearing it, so it was my cos test, and also I was competing at the championships of cosplay that night. So it was fully last minute everything. And so there's some people, I'm walking around the floor, some people ask me like, oh, can I touch like it was made out of, could I touch it? I'm like, sure, maybe they'll like just whatever. There's someone that literally was like, can I touch it? Yeah, sure. And just smacked it. And I'm just like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you smacking it? I'm like, what's going on here? And then I told him I told him politely, please go away, or I just turned around and walked away. And I was like so mad, but it's whatever.
I think in Cyborg, people have asked me to pick them up. No. No. Now, I don't think people really understand, because I know for like female presenting cosplayers and female cosplayers and the tiny petite cosplayers or anybody on the female spectrum of cosplayers, they are people like to touch them and put their hands on places, and you're just like, please stop, right? And usually if I'm there, I'm like, don't do that, and they're like, oh, okay, because I don't have that issue when it comes to most people. I actually have the opposite issue. Most people are kind of intimidated by my height or whatever other things that they could think of or feel. So I have to kind of I try to be a little bit more welcoming to get people to take photos with me. Kids like taking photos with me. I will say that. They're never afraid. But it's usually like, you're a cyborg? Can I get on your back? No. No, I can't move in this cosplay. No. And I'm not going to have you jump on my back, put your claws underneath my thing and like rip it. I can't do it. I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. It's a no for me, dog. Like,
Bringing your scary dog does help. Like, I bring my partner to cons, and if they see my taller partner next to me, they're like, oh, maybe I won't.
Mhm.
That's gonna be me next time. My boyfriend's like 6 foot tall. I'm like 5'2". I'm like, please come with me.
Yeah, you kind that's good advice to kind of bring a handler if you do have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intimidating one too.
Or just
And
go
also
hire a
watch out for
bodyguard.
each other too. You know what I mean? Sometimes with other cosplayers, because there are some cosplayers who kind of they that's not, if they're new cosplayers, they feel like that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to have people all up in their space because, well, I do have this cosplay on. People just want to, take a photo with me. They just want to, and then I have to be like, hey, move your hand, and they're like, oh, my bad, and they're like, you could see it on their face. They're like, oh, thank you. Sometimes you gotta help your fellow cosplayers out. Hey, that's gonna come off. Don't pull on that, or don't touch that, or move your hand, or put them down.
Yeah, pair up with, make all your quiet people pair up with a taller, bigger, louder person.
Buddy system always works.
All right, Chris, you have any questions?
Okay. How about a weird or funny con moment?
I got one.
Hey, you go first.
Okay. So I was doing a group with a bunch of gals that did Rococo princesses. And we were like, oh, we kept getting stopped for photos because it looked epic. Absolutely. So we went off into this like little side area of the con and we're like posing. And who comes out but what is his name? From the Princess Bride, the inconceivable guy. And he goes, you guys look amazing. And then we're like, you're amazing. We love you. What? It was just the coolest moment of like, hello, we did not mean to intrude on you coming in and out of the guest area, but hi. That was so cool.
That's cool. Like for me, for 2023, I was in my Savitar suit, and I was walking like the Javits Center. If you guys never been to New York Comic Con, it's 4 floors of just Comic Con, and Cosplay Central was all the way on the top floor. So I had to take the elevator to go onto the different floors, and I think I was going onto the 2nd floor, and when I get out of the elevator, I'm with my friend. He's recording me, like doing behind the scene videos or whatever. And we see just a random mop and bucket. It's empty. There's no water in it. And so my friend's like, we gotta do something real quick. I'm like, what's up? Grab the mop in your suit and pretend like you're cleaning. And I'm like, okay. So I'm literally as Savitar mopping just back and forth. And then he's like, okay, act like you're pissed and you're tired of this. Throw the mop on the floor, and as you're walking by, kick the bucket to the side. I'm like, okay. So that was a good moment. It was funny.
I have one. So at Anime North, I was there as Sylvanas, and all day I did not see a single other World of Warcraft cosplayer, and that made me pretty sad. But just as I was walking back to my car out of the parking lot area, I saw the Lich King. And it was an awesome Lich King, like so good, like masked up and everything. And we both just immediately locked eyes and immediately went into duel mode. We were like, I challenge you. And then everyone was like taking photos and we were vibing, and it was a nice moment.
That's pretty sick.
I have a funny moment. It's not really a convention moment. It's more of a car show that featured cosplay. So I was guested as Deadpool, and one of my friends had a malfunction as Spider-Man, where he was actually stuck in the suit. I'm not sure if you guys seen like memes where what would happen if you lose the zipper of the Spider-Man suit. So he was legit stuck in his Spider-Man suit. So we go to the bathroom, and I'm dressed up as Deadpool. He's dressed up as Spider-Man. So guys come in the bathroom, and I'm over here intentionally in character as Deadpool, like making noises and stuff. And people are thinking we're doing something in the stall. And then I come out and I'm like, oh, hello there. Hi, Deadpool here. I'm just trying to take off Spider-Man's clothes and I'll be on my way. and then the guy's just like, what? Oh man, can't make this up.
Lorenzo, was it you that had a photo with Tom Holland?
Yes, I did.
Was that this year? Was that last year?
That was 2023. So should I give the story about that?
I was waiting for you to say that was your most memorable moment.
Oh,
man.
because I thought you was asking about funniest moment. So memorable moment was Tom Holland. Yes. So my vision to meet Tom Holland was to always be at a convention, right? But unfortunately, I missed out on Tom Holland's meet and greets at conventions. So I have a friend that works in New York, and he actually was in an area where Tom was filming a show. And he told me where Tom was at, and then I came dressed up as Miles Morales. So my heart stopped when Tom Holland's brother came out. That's how I knew Tom was nearby. So when I saw Tom Holland, he comes up to me and was like, whoa, that's a real cool suit. You know, did you see the Spider-Verse movie? And I was waiting for him to spoil the movie for me because, you know, Tom Holland's known for not keeping his mouth shut. So I'm thinking he's implying he's in the movie, like, you know, one of the Spider characters. So he goes and tells me like, oh, I hope one day we get a live action Miles Morales. And he's like, oh, do you want to take a picture? I was like, of course, man. I came dressed up as Spider-Man for you. So we go and take the picture, and it was just only me and this girl. And I was so happy there was no crowd there.
That's crazy.
I was so happy. So when Tom is like signing like this girl's Funko Pop, Tom is signing all three of her Spider-Man, like, you know, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. He's signing across, and she's like, I only asked you to sign right in the middle with your Funko Pop. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like talking to me, signing. I'm like, this guy. So she's like looking at the Funko Pop like, damn, I got 3 signatures of Tom Holland on all 3 Spider-Man. And he's over here marking out over my Miles Morales suit. So anybody that visits my page, you will see that's the very first picture I pinned to my page. You know, that's my moment. That's my moment right there.
Oh,
yeah.
I think one of my favorite moments was at LA Comic Con last year, or I don't actually. Yes, LA Comic Con, and I was in Cyborg. It was the first time I had worn it, I believe, or second time I had worn it, something like that, and I was walking by, and there was a little Robin that wanted to take a photo with me, and it was really cool. I had pictures and stuff, and this guy walks behind me, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And then he goes, hey, I love your cosplay. You're probably gonna hate me though, because I wrote Teen Titans Go. And I was like, you're right. I do hate you. But also, that's super great. It was so funny. He was like, I love your costume. It's so great. But I also ruined your childhood. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm writing. I was like, why did you do this to me? But also, this is really awesome. It's really fucking cool. It's like, your costume is so great. I was like, amazing moment. It was a really dope moment.
That's awesome. Actually, before we continue, I actually found the clip of the mop scene, so I'll just put my phone at the camera real quick.
Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah, hold on.
He's done.
So that suit is wild.
The suit is sick.
That suit is wild. Whoa.
There's about $400 worth of LEDs in that suit, and they're actually RGB. The RGB ones you put behind the TV, and they're everywhere. they're in the midsection, they're in the all over the back, in the helmet, biceps, thighs, shoes, everywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit you up. Did you like solder them?
I had to cut them to length and then resolder the connections.
Oh, yeah, I definitely we got to have a conversation. Me, you, Namor, all we got to have a little powwow.
Listen, we follow each other now, so we'll do that.
Yeah. Got to have a little cosplay corner thing.
Namor, any memorable moments?
Yeah, I think I said it before, but I won the Marvel cosplay contest as Ronin, which was really exciting. But what was even better, it was right after the contest. I walked down, and then in the Marvel booth there, first it was kind of weird because this woman comes up to me and she's like, "I've seen this before. I've touched this before." She's like, "My costume." I was like, "Okay, what's going on here?" And she's like, "Oh, I work." She's like, I work in the costume warehouse for like Marvel. She doesn't like work on the costumes, but like she does like all the setups for like the Marvel booth and like with all the costumes they put on display. But she was like, "Yeah, it's like I've worked with the Ronin costume before," and I was like, "If you didn't tell me like this was a cosplay, like I would think this is the real thing." Like,
yeah,
and it was really exciting. Wow. And then like I kind of got into like a conversation. I was like, "Oh, so like how does this?" I was like, "I'm working on Adam Warlock. Like, how does this costume? How does he get into it?" Like, so we were just kind of getting all the tea. I was like, "How do they get the Eternals costumes? They don't make any sense." Like, so, and I wish I got her email. I probably should have asked for it. So it's so annoying. But that was a cool moment because it is one. Then like this lady says like it looks like the real thing. So Lee Pace needs to make an appearance so I can get the full Trinity. So.
Yes,
that's awesome. Papa, what's your most memorable moment of 2023?
Well, it's limited to one con, so again, I mean, a similar experience. Someone else said it was really cool. Like, I didn't see any other katanas like the couple of days that I was there, and it's a large con, or anyone else from Mortal Kombat until like the last day I was there towards the end. We saw Chun-Li and we were just like, had that like dazed laugh and we're like, and then we like kind of just like started like posing and like people were taking photos and it was a cool moment. But honestly, like just to be general about it, like I said, that's the whole experience. Again, it was my first experience, my only experience, but it was literally amazing. Like I was very nervous going. Obviously, I'm like what I put together was like very simple. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, who am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? Like, do I even know what I'm doing? And it was just met with such receptiveness and like people were like, "Oh my god, Katana, like I love your," and I'm just like, "Really? Okay, cool." Like people appreciate like the effort, and I don't know, it was just a really great time. It felt really good to be there.
Farron.
Yes.
What was your most memorable moment 2023?
2023. I honestly did not go to a whole lot of conventions in 2023 because I was in the middle of packing up my house and moving 3 states away. But I mean, I love Gen Con, and I know it's not a very cosplay heavy convention, but I made an orc OC that I was really proud of, and it has a lot of details, and nobody recognizes the character because it's an original character, but I just had so much fun wearing it, and the reception was really great at that convention. So
nice. For me, I think one of my favorite moments has to do with Chris, actually. Was actually waiting in the line to talk to Jesse T. Usher from The Boys. Because they were in the celebrity section, and I'm like, I gotta go talk to him and show him Chris's. But Chris, he already knew who you were. He said, "Yeah, I follow him on Instagram and whatnot." That was a cool moment. The people who handle that section, the con employees, they were trying to get me out, but we were actually talking for quite some time, so it was pretty cool. And then we
No,
got
that-
Black Noir. We had Black Noir come by the booth as well when he was hanging out at the booth.
Dude, that was awesome because he sent me a video. He made a video for me, and honestly, that day was like a really hard day for me. So like when I got that video, I was like legitimately like almost on to tears, man. Like I was struggling with something, and that video literally made my day.
Yeah, it was super. It was a super cool moment.
That's awesome. And also, who doesn't love the boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of my top moments for 2023. The premieres and stuff aside, it's like, yeah, but that was a personal moment, and it was nice that he actually took the time to sit and talk, and I wasn't paying for an autograph or anything like that, so it was a nice. Spoke to his dad and spoke to him. It was pretty nice.
My moment would probably be a funny moment. So I think I posted a video a few weeks ago at Dragon Con. Wednesday is day 0 now, whatever, is like insane. So I saw these people that were there, so I decided to pull up, and I threw on this cosplay, and it was a version. It was the evening. There was this guy I was talking with a couple people, and then this one guy, we ended up having a conversation. He looks at me. He's like, dude, mind you, I'm wearing this. He says, dude, you should cosplay A-Train. And I thought he was messing with me. I really thought he was messing with me. I was like, I look at like my friends. I was like, did y'all put him up to? Like, I'm confused. I feel like I'm getting punked. And he goes on, like he's like continues, like I was like, he's like, I just think you would make a really good A-Train. I'm just like, I was like, maybe. I point to him and I was like, maybe it's Inception, man, like Inception. And it was totally went over his head. We had a total separate conversation, like. Oh, then my friend pulls out his phone and shows him like a picture of me in the other A-Train suit, and he's like, I knew it. And I was just like looking at him like, this is crazy. And like we have a whole separate conversation for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then he just like pauses. He's like, oh shit, your dress is A-Train right now. And I almost died. Like I almost passed out on the ground of laughter. I really thought I was being punked this whole time, but he was serious.
Nice. Let's see what we got here. Advice for anyone who's trying to get into the cosplay community or is thinking about joining the cosplay community. We'll start with CJ, I guess.
To join the community, when I joined the community, like for example, like when I joined the community after I watched the first Iron Man movie back in 09. I think it came out in 08, but I saw it like a year later. Because of that fandom, like fandoms itself can bring you into any community, even cosplay. But yeah, like. To join the cosplay community, have an open mind, and it's kind of it's pretty much it. Like for me at least, have an open mind to it because anything could really happen.
Dixie?
Yeah. So if you're gonna start into the cosplay community, there's a lot that you can do. You can go to like different thrift stores and pick up different pieces of clothing that can be put together to make a simple outfit if that's something that you want to do. If you have sewing skills, awesome. There's so many tutorials online or different people that you can connect with that will help you improve those skills because ball gowns are not made overnight. You will have to have years and years of practice doing that. But I think the biggest thing that I can say is do the characters that you want to do. I've got sucked in. I've been cosplaying for 10 years. I got sucked in for a while to doing characters that I didn't really want to do, but like friends were doing it, and I'm like, I was losing some motivation for a bit, and I was like, But then once I started doing more of my pet projects, my personal projects, I'm like, oh, this is this is what I really love. It's giving me motivation. Other people can see that genuineness behind your cosplays. Do what you want, no matter how weird it is. I did Mega Mind, the bald head,
Oh my
the
god.
blue body paint. It was totally weird, but everyone loved it because it was what I wanted to do.
I love that.
So for me, I would say just do it and don't compare yourself to other people. That's I think that's the one of the biggest mistakes. You're just starting out. You don't really know a lot, and you may just buy something, and you may feel like, oh, I don't look as good or what. Just have fun. Like go and have fun. Try to make friends. And yeah, don't compare yourself to other people. And do characters that you identify with that are like favorites for you.
Mhm. I'll piggyback off of what Chris is saying. Don't be afraid to reach out to people within the community as well. I feel like a lot of these big cosplayers might not respond to your DMs, and that's not because they don't want to. I feel like maybe they get swamped, but there are very talented people within the community that are willing to help you.
My answer was actually quite similar to what Chris said. To piggyback off on what he said, when you're starting in this community, don't compare yourself to anybody else. The point as a cosplayer is to take that fandom that you enjoy, that you're passionate about, and make it to your likeness. So, he does A Train. Somebody else could probably do A Train, but don't compare your A Train to his A Train. That's his A Train, and that's his character, and that's to his likeness. And that could be personality, suit, however way he, add his little flair to it. I know he does a Spider Punk Miles, and he had his spin on it. I do a Miles Morales as well, and I have my own spin on it. So make it to your likeness. Don't compare yourself to the next person, and take that leap of faith. I know that sounds so cheesy. Take that leap of faith and just go out there and do what makes you happy. And it actually will show, because if you are genuinely happy with what you're doing, it shows. The results show in your cosplays with whatever it is that you do. Because now you're no longer trying to be in competition with the next person, try to outdo the next person, feel out of place, like, oh, my outfit is not good enough. Who cares? Eventually you'll upgrade. You'll upgrade over time, make it to your likeness.
Let me be the cautionary tale of getting trapped in the whole comparing yourself to other people's cosplays. And I think the reason why I have so many cosplays is because I at the beginning went to my first con and saw that everybody had these amazing cosplays and was like, nope, I have to have amazing cosplays all the time, and I have to have more than one. So for a long time, I was making things to try to prove myself, or prove when I go to these cosplays, I need to cons, that like my cosplay was valid, or oh, it's not that good yet. I got to do another one. I got to do another 3 cosplays when I couldn't just enjoy the costume that I was doing. You know what I mean? So after a while, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this cosplay because I want to do this cosplay. Like, I like this character, and do not be afraid to do any character you want. You can literally do any character you want. I am not a little tiny person. I am not, but I choose little tiny people to do all the time. I gender bend every single one of. I really enjoy gender bend cosplays, because characters that we choose them because like how Lorenzo was saying and Chris was saying, there are little pieces of them that you resonate with. So you guys might choose A Train, but this aspect of A Train is what Chris is pulling towards, and the other aspect of A Train is what the other person is pulling from. So do your thing, and also mix it up. Do an obscure character, like, because for me, sometimes I'll go to a con and you see 1,001 like Genjis and 1,001 like main character. I'm like, there are other characters. Like the reason why you have a main character, all the background characters background is not bad, because if you have all these things are not there, then this character really is not a character. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So do a villain, do a person in the back, do a one, like the person who does the cabbages guy from
Avatar?
Avatar.
Yes!
Yeah.
so much more love, not to say so much more love than Aang cosplayers, but kind of like there's so much hype around like people, you're the cabbage guy, like,
How I ended up with Megamind.
you know what I mean? Megamind is lit. That's so lit. You know, so do what you want to do. Like I show up in Mount Lady. I did Mount Lady
Yes.
because she understands how I feel, because she's giant.
Yo, Mount Lady and
I'm a giant
Deku.
person. You know what I mean?
Plus, the more C-listers you cosplay, you'll find the more real fans. Be like, oh my god, like you have to know this character, you know this
That's true.
costume. It's like, oh look, there's another
Yes.
Batman. It's like, oh, here's a Nova. You know, it's like some random C-lister.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
To add a point, my biggest advice would be that cosplay does not have to be 100% accurate. It can be if you want it to be. If that's something that you care about, then go for it. But don't feel like you need to look like a mirror image of the character. For example, I choose not to cover up my tattoos and take out my piercings in cosplay because number one, I just don't want to, and number two, I actually kind of like it because then
Right.
people immediately know that it's me. Like when they see me, even if I'm in full cosplay, they know, oh hey, I recognize you because of your nose ring, and I think that's kind of cool. So yeah, some people really don't like that. It makes some people mad. But for newbie cosplayers, I would say like fuck it. Like if you doesn't have to be totally accurate. Do what makes you comfortable.
I think that makes it interesting. You know,
I agree. I like seeing little uniqueness in everybody's cosplay. I actually like being able to tell right away, like, oh, hey, that's my friend. I know that person.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer this as a builder. I would say don't also compare yourself to others, but also know that you see these great builds when you're starting out and you're like, oh, I can never do that. I think the biggest thing is time and patience. Patience is the biggest thing to underline. I mean, like I already said, I did attempted Ronin in 2018 when I started, but I didn't have the skills or the knowledge, and now I did him years later. So I think just being patient and also learning, because you want to challenge yourself when you make something new, but don't challenge yourself to the point where it's not in your span. Like, don't try the hardest thing you've ever tried on your first or second. Like, just slowly build up to it, but also make sure to still challenge yourself and learn something new. Each build is what I always do. Like, I remember I bought a sewing machine. I didn't know how to use it, and I just went on YouTube and I learned how to sew. Same with anything else. YouTube's just your biggest thing. I didn't know LEDs, and I need to know LEDs for Nova, so I went on YouTube. I learned it all myself, but I think that's just the biggest thing. Always challenge yourself, but also make sure you're patient with things, because, I mean, like Adam Warlock took 5 months to make, and that was a lot of patience to just be stuck on one character, but you really care about it and you're passionate. And that's another thing, be passionate about the character you want. If you're building something for a couple months, because if you build like a hyperfixation like character that you just like obsessed with, then you just might lose interest and you might just not finish it or something. Because I build in a way where I only do like one character at a time typically, because I just can't, my mental capacity can't handle more than one, because I need to commit to a while. So,
and I'm the opposite of you. I start one before I finish the first one.
Same.
I literally got like 3 costumes here that are not finished yet.
I can't have an unfinished cosplay. I need to finish it.
Yeah, teach me your ways,
So
please.
that's my strength. Christina Darkmatter was teasing me about that. She's just like, stop bragging to everyone. Like, finish all your cosplays and had no one finish one. Yeah. But yeah, patience, that's the biggest thing. So
Hapa, do you have any advice as a newer cosplayer?
Well, first of all, I want to agree with what Nora said about wanting to finish something before starting one. I find that I only have very limited creative juices. So when I went to San Diego Con, I had planned, it was like a 10-day trip, and I went to like 3 cities in 10 days, and I was like traveling every 2 to 3 days. But I had to plan creatively, like wardrobe for like 3 or 5, it's like 4 or 5 shoots. And I was like mentally so exhausted from trying to like plan all of those, the wardrobe and the idea for all of them. And obviously the photographers help, but I find a parallel in that where I feel like creatively it would be too draining for me personally to have like 10 different cosplayers going at once. So I guess I can relate to you on that. I guess I am so new, and a lot of my advice that I have would be kind of a combination of what everyone else has said so far. Um, but I think the most important thing is to just have fun, right? And not overthink it, because that's something that I was trying to do, trying to talk myself out of going. This was back in July, I think. I was going through a really rough time emotionally and mentally, and a breakup, whatever. And I was just not in the best place. So I have the most confidence. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Like what I have put together is just like all right. And I think believing in yourself is, really important. And I just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna meet other cosplayers. And I'm really glad I did, because it was one of the best, most liberating experiences I've ever had. And I felt at home. I know it sounds weird to say, but like everybody there made me feel like very at home. And it was a really good feeling.
Nice.
I have two. I'll make it quick because I know it's getting pretty close to 9. I have kind of 2 pieces of advice. One is cosplay related, and that is make a list. Make lists of the cosplays that you want to do. Make lists of the pieces that you're going to either need or make for those cosplays, because it can get very overwhelming, and that's how you end up with a whole bunch of unfinished cosplays. I know from experience. But that way you're able to prioritize, not just okay, which ones am I going to be wearing for con, but you can also prioritize which ones you are most passionate about. And I think that is really important, because that's part of the community, the fandoms. And we are all passionate about cosplay itself. So that kind of brings me into my second piece of advice is it's a community, so don't be afraid to compliment, ask, engage with other cosplayers. I know it's a lot of us creative types are fairly introverted or awkward, and it's a little difficult sometimes to get cosplayers to talk to each other like we're real people. You know what I mean? So I would say just engage in the community. Not all of us are, answering DMs, but a comment here and there, or if you see that I'm at a convention, don't be afraid to ask them about how they made their armor, or, compliment their, paint, or, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just, just be present in the community.
Totally agree. To go off of what Date and Namor were saying, because you guys make valid points. But do you guys find yourself choosing characters that align with you, personality-wise?
No.
Absolutely.
Because I know there are some people who will just go and choose whatever characters and do whatever they feel like. But do the most part, do you guys find that you guys choose characters that are kind of like you? Because I find myself doing that. Like I choose characters that are more, because I'm more as a Farron said, I'm kind of introverted, right? So I do choose characters who are more like kind of like Deathstroke or Red Hood, or characters who are more, you know what I mean, background or quieter characters.
I actually did like a psychiatrist analysis of myself, just like a personal one. I was thinking about it the other day about the characters I choose. And I was like, okay, so I'm doing like kind of like egotistical characters a little bit. I'm not very egotistical. Like I think I was thinking, well, I think maybe I just like characters that are very, I guess, confident in themselves and very like
Yeah.
even though if they're like a zealot who wants to destroy Xandar, like, or they're a king who has a huge ego, like of Atlantis. Like, I just like characters where you can feel a little bit more chest puffed out, or in general, because I'm a little more introverted in person sometimes, and I'm an introvert extrovert, so I think it's kind of nice to feel a little bit of like confidence in a character that you embody. So
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of feed into my me being an introvert, and I do choose characters. Like I want to do Doctor Fate as well, like more of a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Characters like that.
Yeah, like I just reflected off of I just thought about all the characters I've done, and I'm like, I've done some angry ass characters, like because I've done Atrocitus, which is the red Rage Lantern Corps, and then I've done Merciless that he got angry and killed Wonder Woman because he tried to take him down. And I did Savitar, and because he was angry and alone because he got left behind from Team Flash because he was a time remnant. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. But also, I like to pick characters that kind of reflect off of my physique as well, because like I'm a big guy, I'm 6'3", and I have a physique that I'm stocky, and like I try to go off of that, so that's why I picked like those characters.
With
Go
me,
ahead.
oh sorry. With me, I chose. Well, I can only count 5 characters on my hand right now. Since I'm new. So, if you guys seen earlier on display, I had Deadpool Mouse, Venomized Mouse, and Peter Parker. The 5th cosplay that I didn't really bring up at all is Ghostface. So Ghostface is my newest character, and I know he's a psychopath. He goes around and kills people or whatever. But a lot of people don't know that I write psychological thrillers. I'm an author. So I have an obsession of horror-related stuff. So I do choose characters that fits off of what I do in real life and my personality. Well, not the killing part.
I was like,
say, like,
let's pump the brakes. But no, I choose things. I choose things that relates to what I relate to in my real life. Like like I said, Ghostface. I relate to what I do in my books. I write about serial killers and stuff like that. Peter Parker. He's like the most relatable character. Being a New Yorker. It's like I'm a living Spider-Man. Miles Morales, I relate to him a lot more these days. We're both from Brooklyn. We're both Hispanic and Black. And, other little things. Deadpool, I'm goofy as hell. Cannot take myself serious. And Venomized Miles Morales, I've been expressing my dark side because, although I had a great 2023, there was a moment where I felt like I was like underneath a dark cloud. So I use Venomized Miles Morales, like embrace your demons and, confront yourself. He's like a dark character, and I'm using that as like a reflection character. Like, this is what I went through, so now I'm embracing the bad side. So, yeah.
I get asked that question, like how do you pick your characters? Like, what about it? And really, and I kind of use the way this little explanation that I'm going to give you. I kind of use it to because I get asked by people who don't cosplay. I have a lot of people that I know who are not cosplayers. They are not in the community. They're more majority of those people are in my life than there are cosplayers and stuff. So I find myself explaining why we do this and what is the big appeal, because they're like, I just don't get it. I mean, it's cool, but like, that's weird. You guys watch cartoons. Like, you're like, it's called anime. Thank you very much. But right. But I usually say like, this is the thing. These are, if you take away the superpowers, if you take away the extreme craziness, these are people's stories. They're people's lives, right? If you just look at them as people and stories, you can find yourself in that story or in that person. whether it be where they came from, where they're going, how their family was, how they've been treated. Art imitating real life, right? So then you add on the element of like, superpowers and this and getting bit by a radioactive squirrel or some shit like that, which just makes it, you give them an opportunity or a venue for them to express and do what they want to. Like, that's why everybody loves the villains from Batman. Batman villains are some of the best villains, and because they're not all just criminally insane. They all have PhDs too, by the way. Like, they're all like super smart and went to school for forever just to end up, So that's like, even in that self, it's like you can do all the right things for all your life, and then something happens or you get jaded and you feel unseen and unheard, and then you kind of have it and you start to make yourself seen and heard. You know what I mean? So that story is something that everybody can attach to. So when I pick a character like Poison Ivy, like Poison Ivy, you're not a sexy bombshell person, but it's like, well, no. But Poison Ivy is a person who is okay and comfortable with their natural selves, how they look, and how people perceive them doesn't really change the way they feel about themselves. You know what I mean? You have anti-heroes that people really like are with. Like, as a person who tries to help everybody, you're like, well, Catwoman, she's like, she's chaotic neutral. She's like, it's about me, period, point blank. And sometimes when you don't have that in your real life, you connect to that with these characters, and being those characters kind of allows you to like step into that and develop yourself a little bit, just a tiny bit. But that's kind of like my whole spiel of how I see that and how I like explain that to people who are non-cosplayers or non-nerdy people, or kind of thing.
Before we wrap this up, I just wanted to do this quick what do you call it, raffle here for that edited post. Let me see. Let me just do a quick spin. And let's see who's getting that free edited photo. Little Gabe 87. Cosplay. Perfect. So I'll be reaching out to you. How do I stop doing this now? How do I stop sharing?
How do I stop this crazy thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have to close the screen. I don't know.
That's it. No.
God damn it.
That's a colorful wheel you got there.
Yeah.
Try to click the arrow.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
Okay.
Click that.
Yeah, can you you can't do it on your side, can you?
I think it might share my side if I go click share. I don't.
Oh, here we go. Never mind, I found it. All right.
You're back.
All right. So before we go, we'll go around and make sure everyone drops their Instagrams and their social media accounts, so everyone can be following you. Also, if everyone wants to, you can listen to this podcast as well on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much every major podcast platform. So
nice.
Let's start off with CJ.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is actually right there. It's at CJ Prop Studio, all one word. And you can find all my armors and progress pictures over there.
Vixie Pixie Cosplay as right there. I have a Instagram, TikTok, and I have a different username on Twitch, but I'm doing Twitch too, Pride and Prejudice 9.
At Cosplays by Shinobi as shown on the screen. I'm that on TikTok and Instagram. Twitter, I am Shinobi Cosplays because I think it was too many letters or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, my name is right here. I'm pretty small on Instagram, but it's my personal account. I don't really share it much, but yeah, you guys feel free to follow me on my personal. Lorenzo?
My account is Team Awesome 418. When you do type it in, you will probably see two other pages. If you don't want to see too much of my cosplay, I also do inspirational stuff. So Team Awesome 418 poems, and if you're into wrestling, Team Awesome 418 memes.
Nice. You can find me at Daytay Cosplay. how it you can do it all caps or all lowercase. It's all one word. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on Facebook.
You on Threads? You on Threads?
I'm on Threads. I'm on Threads. I'm on YouTube. We haven't done a lot on YouTube, but there's some gaming stuff on YouTube. And if you Google me, my photos will come up, which is kind of a new thing for me. So just type me in Google and all of them will pop up. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. My handle is Anixia Lives, like it says right here, on pretty much every platform. I also have an account that's just for my cosplay. It's Banshee Queen Cosplay. Anixia Lives is my cosplay modeling and some shit posting for those who enjoy that.
Yeah.
I'm Namor Cosplay. Nothing, everything, just all one word. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I mainly use Instagram and Twitter. TikTok's just kind of like a video dumping website for me.
You mean X?
No. It's Mama called him Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter.
Yeah. I'll also be at WonderCon this year as well. If anyone is going to be there, doing Adam and Baron Zemo. So
yes,
that's it.
Nice. So I am the Happy Muse, all one word across most platforms. I'm mostly active on Instagram, and there you'll see a mixture of just mostly modeling, cosplay, and acting content.
I have Instagram is Farron Lefay, Lefay. That's also my YouTube channel, which I just recently started. And my TikTok is Farron Cosplay.
Awesome. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we go? Or we're at the mark right now, so we're good.
I think it's a wrap.
Feel free to, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to reach out. That's what we're here for, to help out. So hope everyone has a good night. I don't know what time it is where you're at, so thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So lucky. It's after 9 here.
Oh yeah, it's late. West Coast.
West Coast.
Yeah.
Have a great night, and it was a pleasure talking to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.